We're going to call the meeting to order. I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, first up tonight, we have our student. Welcome.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Good.
Great. Mics are on, right? Check.
Think so.
Blue light.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I asked them to do is share information about the AI document that you looked at previous meeting. Les has made a slight adjustment to it. So here's copies. They have copies of it. And so we did not identify in red the text, but so all you had a suggestion of change. And some minor revisions. So we asked the student to share a little bit about what they're seeing with this, as well as anything else. Marley, you want to go first?
Sure. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say. I think that this draft covers pretty much everything. I think it has good explanations for why we need a policy on it. And so students can't be like, oh, I don't know, why do we have to do this? I don't understand, because it's all right here. And I think that it's well explained. Yeah, I like it.
As far as your involvement in this, do you see your voice at all in this document?
Yeah, I think so.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
So in the beginning, you kind of felt like you were not on board, if I remember correctly, weren't super on board for AI in the beginning. Have you changed your field now?
That's more of just a personal opinion. I'm not someone who wants to use AI.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I would rather use my own thinking. But I think that because I'm not the only one who feels
right.
Yeah, not everyone feels how I do.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I totally agree that we need this, and I think that this covers everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think overall it was really good. I just have I would say make the rules more specific. Is this going out to everybody, or just the teachers?
So it would be shared with the students.
Okay.
It'd be a part of a procedure form, so it'd be something that's attached on our website that we would want our students to be aware of, our teachers to be familiar with. And then I think as we begin to bring in more opportunities for students other than what's accessible, just their own use, what's for free. If we purchase any AI programs, I think we might need to test this if that becomes more accessible. I think it's with your Chromebooks, I think you probably have access to chat, Gemini, any of the others.
Just random ones, like math or
So so it will be something that we will be proactively pursuing and being intentional with sharing with middle and high school students. I don't think we're going to be at this point unless we start to see elementary students accessing it. We'll have to kind of play that one out.
See, it could come eventually.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I would just say so for because I didn't know if it was going out this draft specifically was going out to the students. I would say to make the rules a little more specific, with examples. Using AI to brainstorm is okay, but copying an essay and using it was not okay. Just small examples
Sure.
that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Simplify some of the wording. But besides that, it was really good. I just think it was more because I didn't know if it was going towards the students. So
yeah, we definitely want students to read it, to understand.
Yeah.
Both students and teachers to work together on this. And this is where I don't know if we have any teachers that are pursuing like to try to determine if something's, the students used AI, I'm sure they are, but we aren't formally doing that. This is what I'm saying, as a district, this is our first attempt. It started to like compartmentalize, like, what would that use to look like? And throughout, like we have assessments coming up, smarter balance testing. I don't think that's even possible because they're locked in with that application, but I don't think other than that, I don't think we have anything else that allows our staff to learn access. So again, this is a first attempt. It will be published, it will be shared with students, families and staff. And it'll be part of our, like, next year in our August training with our staff. We'll definitely be going over with them what we put together.
I think your call out makes sense though, because if I'm your average student, students are permitted to use AI, might read to me of like, oh, okay, so I can just give it prompt and then copy and paste it right in. So maybe to her point, giving a few examples,
Yeah.
even if it's in a different document, I
Yeah.
think would help clarify some of that of like brainstorming or editing, like giving you some of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and depending on the course,
It's gonna look different.
yeah, like this is not something that I think it's some of our CT classes, smell shop, wood shop, if they're gonna be using a PD, gonna be using it, but in several other classes,
Yeah.
it may definitely be something that they're gonna be relying on. And we have some teachers that probably are encouraging students to begin to, do we have some teachers that are?
Yeah, like the English teacher, not Miss Black, or Miss Merrill, but or Mr. Wareham. He, if it's permitted or like if we're allowed to, he'll write it down like on Google Classroom when he like posts the assignment, it will say how we're allowed to use it and then it will say how we're not allowed to use it. So like that, like for an essay we were doing, we're not allowed to just like, copy and paste it, but we're allowed to, well, not for the essay, we weren't allowed to use AI for the essay. For the slideshow, we're not allowed to copy and paste like the stuff. We have to like write it all in our own words, but we can get information like, or like he he showed us how to ask it for like to send us links for like to find good information. So stuff like that we're allowed to use it for, but copying and pasting it, using it to do our work is
Couldn't use Gamma to just make the whole presentation for you. Look at that.
Yes, but to your point, I definitely think we can add to this.
Yeah.
That could be a part of like the lessons, I think that they're being designed, future lessons with all students, and then each teacher has their own.
Yeah.
Love it.
Their threshold,
Yeah.
but this provides some guidance for them as well as the students.
Great.
Any other thoughts?
no.
Thank you.
I have some points to add about them. I agree with Marley. I'm not a person that likes to use AI on assignments, but I am a senior now. So probably my sophomore year, I wanted to stop using my school Chromebook. So I bought a personal laptop and I use that. And there's even though you're using the school Wi-Fi, the restrictions aren't the same. And that's really why I want to do it. I was in AP psychology last year. So the things we would research would get flagged, then we get pulled out. It was dampening
Yeah.
and back and forth. So I started using my personal laptop and it worked out better for me, but you can't lock a quiz if it's a Google form. You can't do those things. So there's more restrictions. And I think I really appreciate this form because even though it isn't be for youth, and you could tell the verbiage is for certain things for the students, you could tell it's for the teachers too. And I think those restrictions on what we are allowed to do, like Olivia was talking about having like this is an example of something you're allowed to use it on, because my English teacher didn't care if we drafted our entire essay with it as long as she could tell it wasn't all AI. And that was in an AP class. Or for research purposes, if I study with the AI guide and then my responses, because that's what I memorized, or like that on the test, as long as I can show that's my study guide, even though it was AI and I didn't copy and paste or anything like that, I don't get flagged for it in another AP class. So things like that I think are set up very well in this for both staff and for students. So I did appreciate that. Another something I wanted to bring up is when we were first having discussions about this paper and at the start of the year, there was things that there are teachers who condone AI or like you should use it, it'll help you. I'm trying to make your curriculum as easy as possible to make sure you pass this class, and that's in a senior level class. So with that, I think that there are other teachers who are like, don't use it at all, you're not allowed to use it. So I think the levels of this also pertain to that very well. But as you were saying, like in CTE classes, woodworking, metals, there are exams, precision exams you have to take in order to be allowed in the shops. I had for my freshman year, I had metals, and there were students around me who were using AI to answer the precision questions. And that's not a class that people think you would need to have a lockdown on for. So there's not locked quizzes, it's just an online assessment. And it's if you get 100%, that's only what you get in. But when kids are looking up how to administer, or not administer, but how to use the machinery, the safety regulations, and they're not learning it, and you have to have 100% pass rate in order to work through it, I think that becomes a safety measure, that becomes an issue.
Yeah.
There's reasons why you have goggles and
Yeah.
shields and all those things in those classes. So I think that also having restrictions to where not undermining some classes over others, just because you're an AP doesn't mean you don't use AI. Just because you're in a CTE course doesn't mean that you're not going to
Yeah.
use it to
Good call.
a percent exam. So I do think that it is very well worded and very well done, that I think the students will understand it. And just like I think it'll set up boundaries for both staff and students. So
Actually, she makes me bring up a question about the actual policy. There's a line that says, this includes not using AI to cheat, plagiarize, or gain an unfair advantage. What is an unfair advantage? Because one might interpret of like, well, you created a study guide using AI. Is that an unfair advantage? How do we define that?
Yeah, so I think we have to flush that out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's really subjective.
It is.
Agree with all the rest.
Yeah, so that point,
Mhm.
might be something we want to eliminate.
Yeah, we're
And
just,
do we think that example of, like a study guide?
I think that's how I want students using it. You know what I mean? Of like, here's where I'm struggling in math. Walk me through how to do this and give me 17 examples to practice on. Like,
And I feel like that's what the teachers are telling the students, at least from what my student tells me. It's, yes, use it as a study guide, but from that's it, the rest you have to do on your own.
It could be in a presentation as well,
Yeah.
I think. How the
You like it.
presentation looks.
You like those presentations?
Yeah,
I love it.
clearly.
Catches your eye and you're not spinning it out.
That's a part of the grading.
Yeah.
Or that's,
Yes.
subjective, so anyway, so I agree with you, that one might be
Yeah.
too challenging for us. And the idea of like a gotcha or a penalty,
Mhm.
like that's the part, like, we're really trying to not get to that point.
Prevention, not.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like, understand this opportunity that you have as a student, teachers. And it sounds like we have some teachers that are early adopters
Mhm.
and some that aren't necessarily. So we really want everyone to be aware, and I think we can do that in this document. And clearly,
Yeah.
I think there's some things we've identified that else.
Sure.
Yeah, that, I like that.
Yeah.
So the question to the three of you, right? So we on the board have talked about this a bunch, but we believe you're going to continue to see it a lot. AI,
Especially.
and especially we're always watching students from pre-K all the way through graduation. We talk a lot about high school and beyond plans and stuff like that. And so the question I have is just, is this primer, because this is only the start of how we're going to have to talk about AI. Imagine 10 years from now, the conversation and how that's going to be through high school, but is it enough to get awareness to everyone that they recognize that you're gonna be seeing this? Your first job, it's gonna be out there, it's gonna be around, even if you're gonna trade, like it's gonna pop up everywhere. So we want to make sure that people are still using their brain, not artificial brain, right? That you're still being creative. You're still being critical, you're still thinking, but you can use the tool, and there's times to use it and times not. For me, that's my point of this whole document, is like making sure that students hear us and go like, you need to be aware that this is out there, and do you know safety around it, as well as great times to use it. That was a lot, so.
I feel like the teachers too are gonna be the ones that are kind of framing this or explaining this more so than this document, right?
Yeah.
Because each teacher is probably gonna be different from what we don't really have, like, you have to do it this way. So,
I think it's two different things. I think the code of conduct is the how, but what you're talking about is like, okay, the code of conduct's good enough, but do we feel like, do you feel like your peers currently are getting enough of an education around like the pros, the cons, what to be aware of when you're looking at it? Because to his point, I mean, even myself professionally, like how we were using AI 6 months ago is dramatically different today, and I'm expected to figure that stuff out, right? That's just part of it when you're here. Do you feel like your peers are at least getting the beginning of an education of like, here's how to use it, here's great circumstances to use it, here's what to watch out for? Like, are you aware that it can hallucinate? Literally, and make up random facts. Like, are we teaching that, or is that something we need to look at probably outside of the code of conduct as a separate, like, how are we educating folks?
I'm personally not seeing that in any of my classes. And I know that like you guys were talking about like Mr. Wareham and some of your other classes talk about AI. My teachers personally don't very much, but yeah, I think that's something to look into.
I think the way you said that, James, is really good because I wrote a bunch on this piece of paper and a lot of it is like, how and when are we gonna educate it? So it's like,
And do we expect an English teacher to be the one educating this, or do
Right.
we wanna look at a different alternative of?
so from a code of conduct, check, right? But from a, how would you get, like, if I just stick that in front of someone, I don't know, what is AI? When am I? So it's like, what's that primer? Like, I wish.
Yeah.
or-
You got a thought?
I do too.
I see your eyes going.
I feel like now, like it has like dramatically changed since like last year and like even like eighth grade year. But I think that like students are aware of how to use it and like because teachers that do allow it and don't allow it, they make it very like Miss Merrill that will not allow it at all. Mr. Wareham, it comes with rules and like how to use it. I just feel like it they completely ignore it. Like today, some kid was telling me how he turned his essay and like um he'll like how do I say like too much, sorry.
You're good.
He'll put the essay into ChatGPT and then or he'll ask it to put it in like write the essay for him and then he'll copy and paste it and put it back in and say make it so it doesn't register as AI. So they know how to use it and they know like what not to like they don't listen to it. And I think that something that would be helpful in the paper would be like how like test scores and like personal like I don't know how like the percentages of like when like before AI was so popular and now like how because like some student like it's kind of obvious when some student like goes from it like F's and D's
Yes.
and now it's like B's and A's like maybe they are actually studying and like getting tutoring but then there's also AI so I think the percentages of like do you know what I'm trying to
If
say?
there's a big deviation, hey, this is an indication, something.
Yeah.
changed.
Or their testing doesn't match up with this type of work that they're turning in,
Yeah.
because you can't use it during a test,
Yeah.
right?
But some people are poor test takers. I think, but. Go down the rabbit hole forever.
Yeah.
I'll take one. Cause I go into like, but if you've learned how to use it and you're gonna use it in your job. Is it
Yeah.
actually detrimental that you learned how to do all this? And it is in my mind, because you need the critical thinking
Yeah.
skills. That's what we're trying to develop, but I think it's an and.
I do have another point to this too, is that and this could be like the prevention part of me, because that's what I work a lot outside of school. But the big part of it, I think, is the stigma around AI. Usually people either abuse it and it's that word I use loosely, but they use it constantly, they use it on everything, or they completely shun it and they're like, if anybody uses AI, they're stupid, that terminology is used, you don't know how to do your work. But there's not really this middle ground where people use it to study or where people use it to help them, or like I think it's similar to Google too. And people are like, give me synonyms to this word, give me different ways to frame the sentence. And I think that there's a stigma around people who use it and how it's used. And I think that plays back to not only having a paper that tells you, because we could have laws, but unless people have those examples and we have these things that back it up, it doesn't really click for people. And someone could read this and it could click for an adult, or it could click for somebody or a youth, but it doesn't click for somebody else who's the same age or the same demographic or anything like that. So I do think that having a session where you're talking to the staff or you're talking to the students, you're saying like, hey, maybe not putting the statistics in the paper, but saying this is the statistic, and that kind of one-on-one that's making it sink in more than just reading the paper and really just grasping it and taking a second to stand back and be like, this is changing drastically and it's changing really fast. And this is going to change constantly through the school system, through your lives. Like you were saying, college, going to work, all of those things. And I think that even though this does partly prep you for it in the way that you're reading it, but different ways, it's always helpful to get the same information in different ways. So I think being able to listen to somebody talk about it, somebody who's experienced, somebody who, as a senior, I've seen it change since freshman year. I've seen the change for staff and the way that they're teaching it, the way that they're telling you can or can't use it. So I agree with your point that even though there's two separate things, having the paper and the policy versus being able to fully be able to just say it.
I think if you just click up to like eye level, you know, they work. But you know, if we said there's three big things that we talked about here. You're gonna go into a classroom and on the board, it's gonna say, you can use it. It's recommended, we want you to use it, explore it, here's ways to like even try to break AI kind of scenarios, right? And then it's like, okay, it's permitted, but we want to see your own work, or it's like red light, like do not use it. If it's from a code of conduct standpoint, if that like you went into a class and said like, this class says no AI, like, and then if you violated the code, would you feel like the paper that we put in front of you would be like, hey, you just violated the code, like, oh, like you were clearly told and you weren't, because it's really around making sure that people are learning the way that teachers and the administrators wanted to learn in that course at that time.
I think,
So sort of, I always go red, yellow, green, like going by the screen, like use it.
I think when you're explicitly told something and they're telling you you can't use it and then you use it anyways, you know that you're doing the wrong thing. Or like, I really like what Olivia said about the examples, because some people, like I've been in a class before where it wasn't explicitly told that it was a test. And somebody I know used their study guide because they weren't told, and then they got an automatic F and there was no room for anything. The teacher was just like, you just have to take the F, even though they didn't explicitly tell you that. And there wasn't something that was set up to where the example will tell you this is wrong. So like we were saying, referencing, this is something that I did, but it doesn't explicitly say that because I used it in this way, like the study guide, that I'm gonna get flagged for it and gonna get written up, we're gonna get the automatic F. So I do think that was a great point that Olivia made about the examples.
Most of you started in the 8th grade where it started being introduced. Did you have any kind of formal instruction on it, or are you learning it all organically, just what you're learning as you go along? Yeah,
Yeah. So just kind of like on your own.
and the teachers the same. You kind of feel like they're doing the same thing, that they're learning as they go along, and then they're passing it down to you what they can and can't do. Because I've heard a couple of you say that some teachers are saying, don't want you to use it, or you can't use it. I've heard that word, and I don't know if they think that that's like policy, or you're not supposed to use it, or if they're just suggesting in the classroom that you shouldn't use it today. Question was, have you been trained?
Have we been trained?
Yeah, have you been taught about it?
Not at school.
I know last year Miss Merrill, when I had her, she gave us like a day, I think it was like a Wednesday, so it was a short day, but she gave us like a class period to like go explore AIs, like how could we use it, like ask them different questions, like just like getting more information from it, like how to, like I don't know how to explain this. Just she let us explore it. I don't know how else to explain it, but like get the like hang of it. I don't really know. But like I know she uses it. Like she got an email from a parent. She ran it through ChatGPT and got bullet points on it. So she uses it and she teaches us how to use it for that. So like when we finish writing a paper, we can put it into the ChatGPT and or into like whatever AI you're using and like get like notes from it. So that's kind of like what she was telling us how to do, like to get feedback, how to get feedback.
Sure.
I don't want to say that policy is loose because I don't think that's the case. And I think that in some classes they have you read the student guide at the start of the year, especially when you're a freshman. But like the cell phone policy, it became like vastly it became an issue. And there are people like, you can't have your cell phone. But even with this year, there being the cell phone policy with the signs that say no cell phone, there are still teachers who are like, I don't care if you have it out. Or as long as you finish your work and you can show me, did you finish your work? You can have your phone out. So I think that like policy wise too, there is like that looseness to it in some teachers, and that's always like giving the teacher the option, which of the 3 levels do you want to put in your class. So I do think that's always there, but I don't think explicitly somebody has taught us about AI since then. Being the oldest here too, even in 8th grade, I wasn't taught anything when it was like starting to come up in schools. And then as it continued into now, I don't think I've ever like been in the class where they told me these are the benefits, these are the dangers of it, this is how you can get flagged, this is how you're not going to get flagged, all of those things. So
And it sounds like that's something you guys are gonna do at the beginning of next school year.
Yeah,
Or
that's
this
where,
next
well,
school year.
yeah, it's where we are working on that.
Right.
high school, definitely, and Marley's a part of that. Yeah, so we are, our plan, this is a part of it. And then once we get this established, and this is not a decision that the board, like, we're not approving
Right.
this,
Right.
but the idea that this is gonna be one of the forms we're using, it's a part of an existing policy.
Right.
That speaks to other forms of like tools that we use. And in some cases, like outdated language around tools that we use. And this is the most recent tool that's available. We've had similar conversations about cell phones. And so we've gone through these, like these processes of adopting these opportunities for students to, what we think initially is enhance learning and opportunities. And then at times, then it gets like the cell phones, like, oh my gosh, what have we done? Right? Devices for everyone. And we like this is, we were an early adopting district. I felt like in the area with one-on-one devices. So that's an investment we've made. This is like the next thing that we've got to like determine, like, what's our level of investment? Because we can spend money on an application
Right.
that students then will have access to, and maybe then can attach documents, and there aren't limits to it, because if you're using anything right now for free, typically there's limits to what you can do,
Yeah.
and you reach that limit, and you gotta wait till tomorrow, where you can access it again. So this is something that we're investigating, looking into, and is this an area that we want to purchase access for our students? And there's a lot out there to do this.
And it's gonna be outdated in 6 months, depending on what you pick.
Yeah, so and we got Quincy School District,
Yeah.
Peninsula, that are like early leaders in the state doing this, and that's not what, we're not there.
Yeah.
And so to the questions about, like, have we told our teachers that we want you to intentionally teach this? We have not. We have some teachers that are, some teachers that aren't, and I think the cell phone's a good example, right? So here we are, we are very intentional, emphatic with the expectations. And even in that example where it's really clear, we still have situations where there's some flexibility. Wow, really? Yes, there's flexibility with these high school students, and middle school students have less flexibility. But as our high school students are getting closer to the time where they're not getting high school anymore, and they're gonna be on their own, and all you've described, Jane, like what you experience in your current roles, and what we're seeing happening in the world of work, and the access to AI, and what's happening to jobs. So like this is, we've got to get going on this, and supporting our students, updating our families, so the families know what the expectation is, and what are families doing? What are parents doing? What's their role? I know what I would, as a dad, how I've been helping my 2 college students who are like, we are not going to use this. Hey, would you help us? Could you run this through here? You know, because it can be very useful.
I think kind of to Greg's point, I align with everything that you said and what you guys have shared, and I love giving teachers the autonomy and flexibility of choosing. Because I also think it's helpful to have to pull both muscles, right? But I think to kind of what Greg said of like, do we have an intro to AI, even if it's just a high level of like, hey, we're gonna show you how it's biased. Like, and you type it and you let them see it, and we're gonna show you how it starts to report how you want it to report and what to be aware of, and here's how you counteract that so you're actually getting facts. Like, that's the piece. And I don't know that that's a class. I don't think it needs to be. It could be for like seniors, but I think when I'm thinking about a freshman, and like with my kids, we're already doing the like, tell me if this is generated idea. Now ask AI a question.
Yeah.
And then I'll have them both ask the same question on their different GPTs and be like, why do you think it gave you different answers? Well, because it remembers that Addison likes it better when it talks about unicorns, right? But I think you don't know that if you're not taught that. They're taught that because I'm in that field. But all of our kids need to be learning that. Even if you hate AI, like, you need to at least know the biases for when you're forced to use it, and like how to counteract that, or at the bare minimum be aware that it does it and why it does it and what triggers that. Because that to me is just, it's huge. And there's also been, some ongoing things about like kids developing friendships with their AI and some of the negative that can come with that. So just making people aware of like, it's going to tell you what you want it to hear unless you're intentionally telling it.
We have a lot of examples through our K-12 system where topics, units are taught at different times through each grade band. So, yeah, we could put together this continuum.
Yeah.
With, and it probably exists. It's kind of like what, and it could happen through advisory, it could happen through specific courses, which is what we typically do, is that gets taught during US history, that gets taught during health.
Mhm.
And so, and it's just how early do we start? And then in making sure that it is taught, and does it cover what we're describing?
Yeah.
So I think there's a number of things that we can certainly do. I really like that idea in could we launch it next year? And I think absolutely that's something we could do. We just gotta figure out like, where is that gonna happen?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think, Libby, do you have something?
I was gonna say, like an advisory lesson, like, but like an actual assignment, like, you could, you know how we do like the, like, different, we do like different lessons for advisory,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like the, something, like, beyond, I don't know.
Beyond plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
But, it could like, how, to like an actual graded assignment for your advisory class, like how the teacher, that way everybody will get, no matter like what teacher, it will be like an overall assignment for everybody in the school. But that was,
Yes,
Love that.
so that is, that's, so in middle school where all students have advisory.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And for the most part, ninth grade, you start to get to, well, ninth and 10th grade, the juniors and seniors, Running Start,
that's,
Cascadia Tech. There's various things start to
Yeah.
impact the schedule, but I think we certainly could 6 through 10. That would be, we have somewhat of a captive audience, with these courses, because students, then in the junior year, there's some variety. So, yeah, I like that. Advisory is one possibility. It could also be something that happens in another class that all students take, which is typically like world history. All students take that. So it's just identifying which one, and then then the pressure's on that particular teacher.
Yeah.
And then what about the student who doesn't get it? So it's finding out, how do we make sure that all students have access to the same learning? Yes.
I just wanted to share because I'm working on the like AI advisory lessons. We've like talked about it briefly, but like the purpose of those lessons is a lot of what you talked about, Jane and Paul, everyone.
Mhm.
Like an introductory, like
Yes.
just like the general information about AI that everyone should know, like before you're even given a policy or anything. And I just talked to Mr. Castle today because I was hoping on having it done this year, but yeah. So it should be ready next year, probably the beginning of the school year. I'll be working on it over the summer, probably with help from you and Mr. Castle, just
Yeah.
like collaborating.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, with all of the things to cover and adding in like hands-on activities, like go to this website and try out this and something like that, it'll probably be a series of lessons. And I think that like I can make it in a way that would be like something that seniors and middle schoolers could both benefit from. Like it's not just it could be shared to the middle school too. Like you're saying, it could be.
Let me know if I know. I love that.
So a quick pause. So next year, so Olivia and Marley and Jacob are planning to return in the same role. So that this could be, we can continue this project. So next year, it sounds like this summer even, you're looking to put in some time, so. So we will follow up, yes, with Les and the team. So great conversation. Appreciate all that you're sharing, your ideas. So we've documented many of these ideas. I certainly think we can incorporate a lot of what has been shared. Like the next either revisions to or additions to, which is the examples, and then what you're just describing of and I really appreciate like the why before the policy, the why before the guidelines or the like bumpers on this, which is what I think you're asking about. Like,
Yeah.
why is this
Yeah.
important? And then we want to talk to you about some guidelines. And
And
then
it's
also,
okay, you know, we're not gonna get it right out of the gate. So I think the message from my position on the board and listening around is like, we want students to know that we're talking about it and like, we're thinking something. So here's a rough guideline. And my goal's always been before September that it's out there, like
Yeah.
that we come up with something and
Yeah.
is it gonna be perfect? No.
Yeah.
But just like, okay, it's there, we've been talking about it, help us, right? And I think like Marley, like, they want to be part of it and help, but just know like, hey, we're talking about it and we're trying to set you up for the future.
yeah,
That's it.
because the handbook and what you were describing, like all the things you don't get to do, like it's not really that appealing. It's not engaging.
Mhm.
And so like finding a way to involve the students. And I think we're doing it and you're designing this, and I'm sure you're thinking about, are they passively just like being showered with this information and then it's just gonna stick and it's gonna be great, or are they gonna be engaged in it and so they get to, like what you're saying, try it
Yeah, for sure.
and in bite-sized amounts, so it's not overwhelming to anybody, because not everyone's gonna be interested, like just flat out. I don't know what the breakdown is on percentages, but there are people who are not at all gonna wanna do it, and then we have individuals who rely on it heavily. Okay,
Thank you.
anything else? My goodness, great dialogue. Anything else you wanna share? You just got back from spring break. We're back at it. What are you looking forward to?
Updates.
Yeah,
These are ambassador updates specifically. So CACA, National Youth Forum for Prevention, has a mid-year coming up. I am a national board member for the Youth Council. I'm one of 12 people in the US and the territories that got to be part of this. So really excited for it. We get to take some youth from Washougal, which is through Unite, the coalition. We have an event this weekend, which is the JTC Better Together Prevention Summit. We are training another coalition in Jefferson County on what we do in our community. So our positive community norming campaign, our anti-vaping one we did in the high school, which is now bridging into our middle school campaign for the same purpose, which we're calling Project Crown. It's going to be a positive community norming, that's going to be focusing more on alcohol and vaping. That's where we have our funding from grants, and that's also where we're seeing the data collecting from the surveys that are coming out soon. Next Tuesday, we have our Elevate Middle School training, which is going to be at Clark College. It's bringing middle schoolers from all over Washington State, including some from Washougal, and we as in 3 high schoolers from Washougal are going to be helping co-facilitate that. So it's about 6 hours, 6.5 during the day. We're going to be going and helping Xander, which is our ambassador supervisor, but we're going to be helping him give the presentations and working with all the youth and getting them to collaborate. We have Spring Youth Forum, which is SYF 2026 at Great Wolf Lodge. That is a competitive event where we all come together, all different districts as in not necessarily school districts, just all different people from Washington State, and we talk about how we're using prevention in our community. It's a competitive event. You go in small groups, then larger groups, and you get to just collaborate with people. Washington State Department of Health helps, the Washington State Healthcare Authority, things like that. We have the Moment of Youth training, which is in Orca Island this year. It was in Lopez Island last year. This was on the school district Instagram too. It was posted last year, but me and 2 other youth are going to be presenting at that. It brings in all the Orca's youth that work in prevention together, and we get to do some facilitating for that as well. So those are ambassador updates.
Wow.
Awesome.
Amazing.
When do you sleep?
Yeah.
I love it.
any other
Yeah,
updates?
doesn't need it.
Some typical stuff. So prom.
Yeah, prom. Just got our decorations in today.
What's the name again?
It is Bridgerton Masquerade Ball.
I'm jealous.
And it's somewhere kind of farther away.
It's
this
at
year,
the Battleground Community Center, so it is a little bit farther away.
but it's a cool spot.
It is, yeah, it's a nice spot. Yep.
Certainly further than Black Pearl.
For sure. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, it's further this year.
It's a little bit further.
Montgomery Park.
Yeah. That's what we did ours.
It's a long drive.
Okay, so then what's the date?
May 9th or 8th. I can't remember. It's the second Saturday.
Okay, and are you needing chaperones?
Yes, I believe a Google form of sorts will be sent out on like Parent Square soon.
Can we dress
If
that?
anybody's interested?
Dress up.
I mean, if it's a basketball, I mean.
I love that show.
Should we have post-prom events? Is there like a post-prom?
Like a
Like an after
after
prom?
party?
Oh.
No.
Okay,
Graduation, yes,
gotcha.
Yes,
not
Okay.
for prom,
Yeah, grab that part.
yeah.
that would be fun. But
Okay, any other updates? Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
yeah,
Appreciate you. You can leave whatever you want to leave there and we'll
Do we
kind
leave the draft or do we?
here, you take it, it's up to you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to-
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can you turn the mics on?
Yeah, thanks, Lydia.
All right, next up, we have our board and superintendent update. Who would like to go first today?
Oh,
All right, Paul, you go. Be mean, you guys.
Just a quick update. So 2 weeks ago, I mentioned that freshman orientation night with the
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
So attended that with my daughters and there was great turnout. With the training in. Good lecture in the auditorium and kind of do all of that. And then it was really neat to have all the clubs and advisors and everybody in the commons and kind of go around there. And then my kids were most excited to actually tour the school. They go to Jump to Guard and they're like, we're just one big, long, straight school. And so this one has like
Halls.
alleys and floors. And I'm like, it's just a U. It goes around.
But it looks big. Sure.
So they were running around and then I know everybody did freshman forecasting,
Yep.
so. I've heard a few comments around the community of like, how do we know? Why do I have to put so many alternatives? Like, these are the courses I want to take. How do we know if we're gonna get picked? When are we gonna know? So I don't know. I didn't have an answer to the parents.
Yeah, so yeah, the additional options or classes is if they don't get that particular class because there's too many students that want that class.
Or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or not
Yeah,
enough,
not
yes. Yeah, that's a good point. There's various reasons why that particular class might not happen.
Or be too full, right? So
Yep.
that was basically mine. Like, okay,
Yes,
you never know. You could end up in a class you didn't want and you might learn something new.
yeah. And then as far as when they'll know, so the goal is always to have it available and like have it set by like last day of school around June 16th. It's really challenging to lock it in.
Yeah.
And so it's available. So it's typically then, it's not by the end of the school year, then it's in August,
Or,
you know, a week or two before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in my world.
Yeah.
High school.
So I will add, I appreciate you mentioning that. So I think that's the first time probably where that orientation has happened during conference week. It's really the
Yeah.
perfect time,
Mhm.
good use of conferences. And I think that Mark, in talking to him, was really pleased with the turnout and the energy and what you described. So I think that'll be something that we plan on next year. It'll be locked in so people will know sooner. Because we had some questions from our student reps, like when are we gonna find out? Because as an 8th grade parent, if you haven't had an upperclassman, you don't know. But you
I
really,
heard it from a lot of parents. They're like, well, what if my kid, this is their track, and if they don't get that class, it ruins the
The
whole
whole track.
4-year track. And you know, I don't have.
Talk to the counselor.
I don't. Counselors are great. It's
Yeah, the
just-
counselors have been so
I now know
amazing
there's
with that.
3 counselors, and they're by this and this
Yeah.
and this, and they came to all of the. I know they're doing the road
Schools.
show, right? So they
Yes.
usually, they kind of pick to do the orientation in the middle
that
of.
includes a roadshow. Yep,
Yep. So, been good.
great,
I have the forecast documents on my table at home if anyone wants.
nice.
That's
There we
it.
go.
Sure.
Life, what are we talking here? Baseball. Is that what we're talking? First.
Whatever you want, whatever
First
you-
first baseball game, yesterday, with grandson, oldest grandson, Archer Man. And it went really well. They did not win. But there was a lot of humility going on in that field. And, despite the weather, the coaches and some of the parents got together and raked the fields and they went and got more of the sand and filled all the potholes. They had a work party before so that they could play because they were determined to not be turned away on the first day. And they were very successful in that, and the field looked great. So
Great, thank you.
I'm kind of along with him for softball and baseball game last night. But the thing that's interesting to me is I haven't been in my hometown. I remember there was always a shortage of coaches and volunteers. And this year, I think there's 4 or 5 girls minor league teams, and all of them have 3 or 4 coaches because we have so many people in the community willing to volunteer, and watching 2 teams from this community compete in their 8 to 11. And the level of talent is just really impressive. And then on the academic side, we have parent teacher conferences, which I really appreciated. Both my kids' teachers showed kind of the progression from fall to spring, which didn't always happen before. And I find that very useful as a parent to see that learning, especially as we then get ready to gear up for the SBAC. Is that the
Yes,
abbreviation?
yes.
And we've had the communication coming out about making sure students are rested, et cetera. And I really think, particularly for the 3rd graders, getting the extra info from the teachers about hey, this is their first time testing. It's really
Yes.
important that they're present so they understand how to navigate the system.
Yeah.
Has been very helpful. So my
Good.
kids are actually looking forward to testing, which I don't know if that's normal.
Love it.
They're
No, no.
excited about it. Their teachers are doing a good job.
Can they talk to their friends and tell them?
I mean,
Exactly.
my mom said it.
Yeah,
Yeah, be excited about
be
it.
excited about it.
You have to sleep for 10 hours before.
Have a good breakfast.
Yeah. All positive.
Awesome. Thank you. I got to do BizTown interviews with our 5th graders. I did Gauze and Halfway. That was so much fun, and they were so prepared. The teachers had them, I mean, some of the kids came in ties. It was the cutest thing. We shook my hand, looked in my eye, made eye contact, did all the things. So I really enjoyed doing that this year. I've gone to BizTown a couple times, but I've never been part of the interview. So that was really fun. Teacher appreciation is coming up. If you have kids at the school, or if you just want to volunteer, I know each school is doing something. There should be sign up geniuses going out. Please sign up and support our teachers in that way. Stride is coming up. I need volunteers as always. You can either see me or do it online. And spring, so soccer, middle school soccer, that's new. And that was so cool watching them down there. There was a lot of kids out there playing. So I'm really excited that we got to bring another sport into our community. I know we have a lot of parents that are really excited.
Good.
And that was funded by the levy, right?
Yes.
It's funded by the levy.
Let's just plug that
Exactly,
in.
100%.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And side note, Jane, you should just train all of us, but yeah. I mean,
I'm still at Ricky.
I'm I kind of feel like when I
Barely
really
keep my head.
That's all I have.
All right. So I've got a couple things. I'm not sure if you'd heard about Scholarship. So Scholarship happened at the high school. So this is Rose, who is our career specialist there. She might have been at the event, Paul, that you were describing. So Scholarship was for our seniors. This was after school on March 11th. So these students were there completing a scholarship, and she was there helping. And so this was the first time this had happened. So a large number of students attended. So early in the year was Papa planned, which were, Jane, I think you attended that,
Yeah,
and Sadie,
yeah.
maybe you did as well, where students who were seniors who were, I think we did that, I guess it must have been October or November.
I think
And we're working on there, what's happening next. So this is similar Papa plan, popcorn theme and
Yeah.
pop, and so the sip. So she's really creative and good with Canva, and so these graphics and these things she puts together. So excited about this for our students who were interested in applying for a scholarship. Something we had not, I
Love
think,
that.
done before, specifically like this. We've always had a site where students could access to see a list of scholarships, a Google sheet that's been used for that. But this is the next step
Love it.
for our
Yeah.
students who are interested in pursuing a scholarship. So good job, Rose. Just what you mentioned, the BizTown. So the second time I've been a part of BizTown, this is at Hathaway. You see one student in a suit. So there were a number of students. I think they were all dressed there was an attempt that
Sure.
appeared to be in this role. And what I noticed is what you noticed, and that as students walked in and they were like determined where they were gonna be sitting, we were all sitting together. You can kind of see on the right, that's the setup at Hathaway. At Gauze, it was in the library, and there's a little bit of different setup. At Hathaway, all the students were, that weren't interviewing, but were going to be interviewing, were in one room across the hall. And so to see them practicing, that's what's happening on the left, is they're getting ready. And this was intentional, so they were the handshake, the greeting, the resume, the application, and then the thank you at the end, like all of that was taught. Kind of like you're talking about with AI, like, right? Being very intentional.
Yeah.
And they really showed this practice or this thing they always look forward to. So fifth graders having this experience, they were all applying for a position that they were going to be in that role when they go to Fiztown. So last year was just Hathaway. This year we had 3 out of 4 elementary schools did it. Fifth grade groups did it. Next year it'll be 4 out of 4. I really think this is a nice add to this experience for these students, their life skill, right? To prepare, to interview, to prepare, and then to deliver. Yeah, really well done. So I'm not sure if any of you attended the Youth Arts Month event, the gallery at Excelsior, which was the 27th to 28th. So here's just some pictures. Really a cool event that is a partnership with WACA. And so a number of those individuals, part of WACA were there supporting, putting the, can I get everything set up? Those are our teachers in the top left. Wonderful art from K to 12. And I was there on Friday. I was kind of like organizing the cookies and just making sure that those were that was my role.
Quality control.
My quality control, yes. And just so many different like grandparents and parents and siblings and seeing the artwork and finding their artwork and being so proud of that. And then to see their teachers, like that was the part, like a student seeing their teacher there and just embracing them and like then finding their art. So really a nice way to end Youth Arts Month. Something that we do every year. So we had April 1st, this was before the industry fair, which was the high school, which was the showcase for CTE leadership. So what you see is on the left, that's FBLA. Jake, our rep, is there in the suit along with other teammates. On the far right in the top corner, that's a headshot. So if you were there, you could get a headshot. That was being done by our high school team. And then the middle top is Memphis. That's one of our students who's using a virtual welder. And Memphis did not, as long as I was there watching this, Memphis didn't leave that location, like was really into using the virtual welder. And then the bottom right, that's Krista DiGiacomo, who provided funding for the food that was in the future picture. You're going to see the food truck for the industry fair. So she hosted or sponsored that as a part of the industry fair, and then Brett Mansell, so that's one of his stations.
Did Krista do a charcuterie board? She's
She did
famous
not.
for those.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. No, she didn't. So then this was the industry fair. So this is as many adults as there was students. And so we have lots of vendors there. This is just one moment in time. I think, we think this was more better attended this year than last year. Probably not as high as it like the first year or two that we did this. Right around COVID, we've been doing this for quite a while. And it had been alternating between Washougal High School and Camas High School. And now we just do it at Washougal. And so really an amazing event. And then we've started adding organizations where you can volunteer. So it's not just like local vendors and outreach, but it's also some of these organizations where students and adults can volunteer. And then the bottom right are the cupcakes that were made by our staff and the food truck, which had delicious things to eat. Okay, so that was some highlights. Now to give you a little bit of information about what you're aware of. I think you've heard from some community members.
Yep.
So we've made some adjustments to the high school Gauze campus. We've had some challenges with community members accessing the facility during school days, after school hours, which is okay. It's just the expectation we have of like, if you bring a dog, a pet, keep them on a leash.
Yeah.
Don't bring your electric motorcycle and drive it into the on the baseball field, softball fields, which I have a picture of that. I was gonna bring it, have it on here, and I didn't add it. But the damage that was caused by several electric motorcycles getting into the infield, work that we had just completed, and driving around and creating these like trenches. So it's very frustrating. It's very time consuming. It's a part of what happens. So it's why we've increased the fencing around. It's why we've added gates to where we had entrances. And so we're trying to manage that at another level, because we're trying to protect our assets. Plus, during school hours, we want to protect our students and our staff. And we have examples of, I have a quote here from one of our teachers who basically is just saying, thank you. I realize this is a tough conversation with the community, but as I'm there with students and dogs are running around and interacting with us, or individuals are coming by, like that is not something that individual teacher or those students need to be dealing with during the school day.
Right.
So after hours, absolutely understand that, but not during the school day. So we're working on it. We're going to be communicating with all of the individuals that live around the perimeter of the property, so they're aware, because we have a number of homes that border the property that have gates to that area.
Right.
And so we've got to make sure they understand that, yes, it includes you as well during school hours.
I didn't even think about the gate.
Yeah.
And for the dogs, are we getting a new off-leash dog park?
So
Maybe that will alleviate some of the.
Sure, maybe it will. That'd be great. Yes, that'd be great. So this is the campus that we're referring to. So what we've put is some fencing. It's kind of hard to see. See where the tennis courts are?
Yep.
Top right. So we did add some fencing there. We've added gates where there weren't gates, 2 entrances. And so that's the area that we're trying to protect. Again, it's not just from community members with dogs. And when they don't clean up after the dogs, it is very frustrating. So, but it is the electric vehicles and motorcycles going through, and we may have to add some more fencing to Gauze playground because individuals are going to the Gauze playground. And we have a similar situation up at Cape and Canyon with individuals accessing the facilities when we rather they not. And
When it's
so,
unsafe for them too. I mean, as a
Yeah.
parent, I don't want anyone that hasn't had a background check anywhere on campus.
exactly, yes, yep. And so has it happened previously? Yes. And there's a variety of reasons, the cost associated with adding fencing and then having staff, and staff get yelled at, they get berated. And so it's unfortunate, but it's a part of, being a part of a community. We're just making some adjustments to this, and we are sticking with our plan at this point. And we'll continue to work with individuals who are challenged with this decision. So hopefully that will continue to be helpful. Okay, so I was on a call today with our state superintendent. I mean, it wasn't just talking with him, but it was a presentation. And I do want to share with you what he shared with us, which was lots of individuals are part of this Zoom call. So here's the update. Basically, and I've identified like the highlights, talking about the push for attendance, which we are working on that. There's resources available, local effort assistance adjustments by the legislators. So that didn't impact us because we were not getting dollars, but other districts were. And you see the map on here, those areas that were impacted. TK though is one specifically. If you look on that second map, and up here on the graphic, like our school district is up there. So we were impacted. We have gone from 4 TK sections to 2 based on the reductions by the governor and the legislative decision. So we found out last week, I think. So we are right now adjusting to that. And we've been working with families. I think we have over 60 families who expressed interest, and we're going to be working with them on this decision. A variety of other topics regarding the legislative update. So running start, bus depreciation we've talked about. Those are all things we have to adjust to in our budget plan. There's a K-12 equity work group that's been formed. So we're kind of watching at a distance. Like the school district, are not involved in that. We're just going to watch the work that they're doing. There's this House Bill 1296 willful non-compliance for boards. So as that gets worked through, what that actually looks like, I will update you. I'm not involved with those, like the planning for that, but as soon as we have something that's more than just they're working on that, what does that look like? We'll update the board. Budget planning, the state superintendent just talked about, this is what we're doing right now. This is what, you know, that we've been doing this. We're going to continue to do budget planning. You know, what's happening at the federal level, talked about district financial health. We are in good financial health right now as a result of decisions we've been making. And so he just talked about the number of districts that are not in such good financial health. Talked about waivers, and this is specifically waivers around if you have snow, inclement weather days, if you have, and you need to request to OSBI, we need to in the school year longer than what we were planning, because we've had a number of things happen, whether it's just flood, which happened north of us earlier this year. So we are fortunate that that is not something we're requesting. We have 2 more inclement weather days, next Friday and then one in May. And unless something happens between now and next Thursday, that'll be a 3-day weekend. For students, for most staff, but not for all staff, because we have some staff that's a working day, including me. So anyway, I just want to share that, and then teaching and learning. So just for your information, it was a helpful update today. Yep. And I guess that is it. So thanks for mentioning BizTown.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That's fun. I'll do that
Yeah.
anytime.
I enjoyed this town.
It's fun, right?
Yeah. And I would like to know some of the results. I mean, who got, you know,
I want to do that.
right, and yeah, like, what positions were, you know, some great.
I would have hired them all because I'm a sucker for that.
I wouldn't know all the names.
I know. Sorry, you both. Okay, next up, we've got capital projects.
Right, so this is just really quick. So you have a document in front of you. And it looks very similar to the first version of this. This is the first version. Second version just is updated information regarding some of these projects, right? So as we complete them and we can, in essence, sign off on some of these projects. So what we have here is, so this is the last levy that was approved, that we're currently in, the 3rd year. We're not talking about 2027, 28, 29. This is our current levy. Our next funding come from the state is April, this month. So will that be the last one for 2026, or is there one more?
So we'll get little amounts, but at the end of this month, we'll get a large amount.
So that will, in essence, be the current levy. And we will use a similar process. We are using a similar process in identifying the projects, working with RNC on what are the costs, what can we afford over the next 3 years. So we'll be sharing with you what that looks like as far as a timeline, what we've prioritized as far as projects. But this in particular identifies, as you see, for example, the boilers and HVAC controls. So the project, 467,000, the DC controls, 860,000. So those are completed. And so this is, Ida had asked for just some updated information.
Yeah.
We will continue to give you information regarding how we're spending the $6 million. Included in this is also some of the grants that Jessica's done a really good job pursuing. We're continuing to pursue grants. And when we receive those or acknowledgement of those or awarded those, we'll definitely let you know.
I like this. This is a good way to show us.
I think it's helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Very much so.
Yep. Okay, so that's the update
Thank you.
as far as that goes.
Great. Next up, we've got our board calendar planning.
Yes, okay. So board calendar planning. So some things I want us to consider in board planning. So you were given some information. I have some hard copies. So if you prefer hard copies, No,
No, thank you.
no,
I do.
you do, okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna give you some hard comments, so here's one thing, that's if you are not interested in this, then don't take it. Okay, and then we'll just leave it stacked at the end.
Okay.
So Corey has already put together like
Hard copy.
our meetings.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, so this is based off of previous years, based off of this year, new calendar year. So here are the dates, but what I want us to be thinking of, and it says draft.
Right.
But I want us to consider some different possibilities.
Okay.
We don't have to lock in to what you see here. So this is a draft. And one of the things I want to bring up is our start time on board meetings. And if that's something that you are interested in changing the start time.
5:30 would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, something
I'm
like that.
So,
So I just want you to know that it's not written anywhere in stone that we have to start at 6:30. So I want you to be think about the possibility. So we already have a 5:30 possibly.
I think for Ida, that'd be the one I'd want to check, but I think
Yeah.
that'd give her time as well.
Yeah.
The only concern would be then the meetings where we usually start at 4, like I normally can't. It's
Yeah.
tough to get here at 3:30 versus
Yeah.
would we just go, maybe we start at 5 that day and go late, or start at 4 and go later than
Right.
normal.
Or maybe we don't, yeah, so maybe we don't start at 4. Maybe that's something that we talk about.
But
So-
5:30 would be great.
Okay, and so I just want you to know, like Camus starts at 4:30 for their workshops or work sessions,
Mhm.
and 5:30 for their board meetings. And they're on Monday. You know, you thought, oh, that every board meeting has to be on Tuesday. That's not correct. Doesn't think be any day, either way. Day.
I'm open to any day but Monday or Friday.
So anyway, I think we like Tuesdays.
I like
It's
to.
just if you're interested in changing the time, this would be the best time. I know we have Ida
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah, right.
to get her thoughts. So as you think about that, like what time we start,
Take it back.
so as we're thinking about that, so some other things, if you look on this schedule and we get to say October 27th,
Mhm.
at 4 o'clock for presentations. So we have 4 elementary presentations during that chunk of time. So there's also been some discussion about, like, is that the way we want to keep
Right.
doing it?
I think that's something we should still talk about.
Okay,
So set plans and how we.
and those presentations.
We definitely talk about standardizing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see them like fully standardized going in, like this is the format. October 27th, is that conference week?
October 27th, yes. So the 26th through yes. Through the 30th.
So we probably wouldn't want to have stipends on that same time, right?
On that Tuesday.
Yeah, that might be rough.
I mean, I'm open. I just don't know if the principals have a lot going on that week. That was my only thing that popped in of like, do they have a bunch of parent meetings that it's better for them to be available that week and we bump a week?
Yeah.
I'm open.
It could also be flipping secondary and elementary.
Because they have less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever works best for the principals on that one. I don't have a preference. Just think it's an awareness.
I also think if we're talking about the SIP plans, I also think it wouldn't be terrible if we did. I know we've talked about different ways of doing it, but maybe doing it at this, having our board meeting at the school, at a specific school, or I don't know, just do something. So, I feel like you guys miss, when you guys, I can't talk. Not everybody can make it to the building visits. And so I think that sometimes they want to share things with you guys maybe, or with all of us. And so I don't know if it would be beneficial to have them at a specific school, or I don't know. There's lots of different.
Do those meetings have to be public? That would be the only consideration of like tech and all that, so.
Yeah, so we have done it.
Mhm.
We have done it.
Is it a hassle though?
Yes.
Okay,
It
that's fair.
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we don't have to, that we can't do it because we've done it. And
Yeah.
so some of the challenges, there's lots of benefits. Some of the challenges are when you do a a presentation for each board meeting, like you just do them one after another.
Yeah.
It spreads them out.
Yeah.
To where.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is there's a school that you don't see that presentation until February,
I see what
I
you're
like
saying.
December.
Yeah.
And I think-
So that's
That's
a
true.
challenge. Again,
Yeah.
this isn't a deal breaker because we've done it. It's just,
It is for
It just-
me, I
it just-
prefer to see them all back to back.
They need to be, I would second that, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Same day, they need to be like, bang, bang, bang.
And I do think while we don't make it to everything, I don't know that there's anybody on this board that hasn't been in every school at least
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, that's true.
so that was just one situation that was challenging for those. And so the jump to guard was always first. And so like they had less time to work on their SIP presentation because you've got to get them started.
Right.
And I sold it.
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm good.
I think
I don't want to split them up. I
that
don't wanna
does,
do that.
that ties into one thing of like, I would really like those presentations a few days in advance, if at all possible. Because I like having the chance to review the data myself so that I actually have questions ready versus trying to absorb it all. And then usually I get home and I'm like, now that I relook at the data, I have questions about this and this and this.
So not only the SIP plan, but the presentation in advance.
Or at least whatever data they're gonna cover in
Yeah,
that plan,
sure.
like that's what so that I can really dig in and like sink my teeth into it.
Even if it's a one pager.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the full, like,
Okay,
We can provide, and some boards do that, they provide a one pager that says, we want to see
I would love that.
this data, and this data, and all.
Would it be helpful to do a template of some sort?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And
I think that's what we're asking for is like, cause it's difficult, at least this last year, because people report on different data and they do it. And so when you're trying to like get a sense of like, okay, how's this school compared to this school? And are we measuring the same things across the board? It just got more challenging. So I think give them a template and then maybe give them the autonomy of if you want to take this template and then you want to add something extra. Go
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. You
Like,
can
Do more, but
addendum, no problem.
everybody's gotta have this bare minimum so that we can look at it and really, and it also gives us a chance to really understand what each piece of data they're presenting in that area means. Before when they're kind of all scattered, you're going back.
yeah, so we have a little bit of time
Mhm.
for this. We have made it more formal and established the structure to it. So I'd be curious to know, like, what is it? Like, what's the next iteration of this?
So I think it's like the reports that we got this last time, the update and how we said like, hey, these are two that really
Yeah.
stand out. To me, how I always like to do it with, multiple departments is you then come together and agree as a board of like, okay, between these two, here's
Right.
what we love about both. Now we want to see everybody with
Bingo.
exactly
Yes.
this.
Yep.
And maybe the high school's a little different because it's different, but like every middle.
They're gonna
school
have
should
some
this,
data
Every
that
elementary.
not
should
everyone
have
else
this.
has. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it goes by feeder, right? So you
Yeah.
gotta-
Yeah.
Elementary, middle school,
Yeah.
and high school, but I would love to
Sure.
give that, and I think it would also make it easier for them to just be able to like, here's your template, here's your PowerPoint, fill it out if you want to add.
Because they already
something.
have it, like the SIP template they use is the state provides.
Mhm.
So the data that they're tracking is what the state says you need to be tracking.
It's just how they're
So
presented.
if we look at our strategic plan and we've identified
Mhm.
the SIP, what the state requires, and then what you're asking for. And we also want to keep it to a amount of time that's
Yes.
reasonable,
Yeah.
which I think we've gotten to that point. So we'll work on it. I'll work on it with Connor. We'll present something to you, and then we can kind of pick it apart and then make some revisions.
And is there anything the principals wanted to change about it, that like they don't think is beneficial, or that they would like to see done differently, whether it's timing or like anything? I would just be curious on their end, right, of like, is there
Sure.
anything that they'd be asking for done differently?
Yeah, so we'll ask them at our next meeting about that. We have a meeting with them once a month. It's just specifically that team, and we'll ask them. I believe that they benefited and appreciate hearing each other's,
Mhm.
which was, we weren't getting that when they were presenting their own.
Yeah.
So I think they do appreciate like that opportunity to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they can also prep that way. Okay.
I definitely like seeing them all together.
Okay, so back to, SIP presentations, your thoughts about site visits? Is this something that
What do they feel about site visits? Is it better? Because I hear both. That they like, some of the teachers hate it, some of the teachers like it. I love that we got to go in and do that math you know, be part of that.
Lesson study.
So I would rather do more of, hey, look what we're doing. This is, you know, this is something that
Yeah.
we think is great. I would rather go see something like that maybe than versus, you know,
The
a
tour.
setup tour, right? Like,
I 100% agree.
but,
I like the tours.
Oh,
but
for
I,
the first
yeah.
go round, but that map, like that was one that I felt like was impactful and like. Not that the others aren't a lens into the day-to-day, but it felt much more like, hey, this is something we're doing and innovating to make things.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
that was really good.
But I personally, you know me, I personally love to go to those, but I have the time for
Right,
that.
so I
So-
think, because we have, so for example, BizTown
Mhm.
is something that we know that's gonna happen.
I would rather do that.
Get you there,
Students, yeah.
Yeah.
because there's a before and there's an after,
Mhm.
right? So we could even maybe tie something in before and after, but it's, so there's another, more lesson studies,
Yeah, that was great.
identify those. BizTown, and then any other thing that's something that, it's almost like what we talked about of on your page on the website, where like, this is where
Mhm.
Jane's calendar,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's
Sadie's calendar, and you're like, there's several events where
instead
like,
of doing a listening tour, making it known of like Jane's gonna be at Cape
Yeah.
Horn's Steam Night.
yes.
And she'll hang out in the cafeteria by the little electric
Yeah.
cylinder
Yeah,
thing.
this goes into like the next.
Yeah.
What could be, I like that, and the idea of these events that we know are coming.
And
There's
we're there to.
there's a toolbox build, there's BizTown, there's the lesson studies, there's Papa Plan, there's scholarship.
I
Like,
think,
there are these things that we can identify.
but I really think the after normal working hours, like when I talk about Steam Night, I saw more parents there.
Yes.
Because everybody can go if they,
Oh,
most
yeah.
people can go, and so I think we should make an effort for at least a few of us to be at each school once or twice a year during those events.
Those after hour.
And
Yes.
yeah, even more, like, I love like the toolbox build's fun, but
There are
parents that are
parents
working can't make it.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep. So we can identify what those events are, talking to our principals, like, so
Yeah.
there's, I think it's, so that one that you just identified, that always happens. So we'll work with our principals to say, what are some events? And I also would like you, if you have a child in the system or children in the
Mhm.
system, connecting it to that, something you're already going to, I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
is. And
Much
while you
easier.
see, interact with people all the time, at those football games, right?
Yeah,
Wear a Letterman's jacket,
I was
Come on.
so.
still wanting
Yeah.
to.
I went to the freshman orientation. I think I did.
Of course.
Okay, so Greg, what are your thoughts about that?
I'm kind of open to how we go about it. It was really helpful to me. I only made it to one school and that was very helpful. And so I'm kind of the walk and talk tour. I want to see that.
Yeah,
But as long as we're on campus and I'm learning, as long as we're getting with the people, and I kind of need to shadow a little bit
Yeah.
with everyone to see
Absolutely.
exactly what's going on, but yeah, participation.
I really like this idea. So the Youth Arts Month, the art gallery, like that would have been an after hours
Yeah.
event where you would have interacted with a number of people that maybe you're not going to see.
Yeah.
I like that. Again.
What about
Okay.
conference weeks, like at the middle school, you know how it's just
Yeah.
a big open gym?
Yep, and then there's conferences. Like that's an after hours opportunity where you could be there, you could be set up,
Yeah,
and we could.
Yeah.
Okay, so that instead of, in
yeah,
place of listening tours.
Yeah, I think unless an issue arises that we know the community wants more, like even more than that, I think we table the listening tours and instead do that. I think
Yeah,
it'll be more.
for sure for the listening tours.
But we're
Corey,
still saying
Yeah.
keep these,
okay,
we're still saying keep these site visits. Yes.
so I think, yes, I wonder if we try to tie them to. It's like a lesson study,
I like that idea too.
okay,
Yeah.
Cause they can, especially as the year goes on, it's almost like a sim. 6 months later, cause they're getting happy. Like, oh,
No,
You know what I was, yeah.
it exactly is, and we were trying to get, we want, this year's site visits, we want to connect it to math. And that, it didn't always work that way,
Mhm.
but when we went to CRG, what you saw in Sam Howard's classroom
Yeah.
was the vertical
Yeah,
teaming, the vertical whiteboards, which is what the lesson study was about.
yeah.
And it can be that we make arrangements for me just to go to the
Yes.
campuses and
Yeah.
that they give me a tour and
Yes.
that I get to see. So that I have a general sense of what all the.
Yeah, we could
schools
arrange
are
that.
like. Cause the school the first one that I went to, I walked away going, wow, it was a beautiful campus.
Yes,
And so I really would like to.
yeah,
And I
okay,
don't
so,
even, but I'd only come in through the back way to go to the gym or for the basketball
Right.
games or.
Actually go through the office. And-
so this document that has those site visits,
Mhm.
we will, I'll draft something like that. I'll figure out where some of these activities are and see if we can connect it to some of those activities.
Yeah.
I also feel like those are always on Thursday. Like all our site, was that on purpose?
Probably. The site visits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only saying because that's my worst day selfishly. I
Gotcha.
can make it work, but if there
Yeah.
wasn't a specific reason it was on
Yes.
Thursday. If we could potentially mix it up during the days,
Yeah.
I don't know with Ida if she's kind of got like Mondays or certain days, et cetera, but it might be helpful to mix it up a little bit and then we can make it to more of them. 'Cause Thursdays for me are.
Yeah, so I think what we're gonna do is, we'll ask your schedule. We'll ask when would be the best times. And then work with our principals to see like,
What works.
try to connect, yeah. Cause so we had 2 in February, 2 in March, 2 in October, and 1 in November. So kind of to your point, all like presentations are gonna be in October. And where would these visits be? Yeah, and if we can mix it up so it works. All right. Okay, listening tours, got that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Calendaring board members' schedules. I think we can keep working on what that might look like.
What we can do, I mean.
And I know Leth actually had some good ideas too about how to
Yes,
work.
at a public staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then you all have access to this.
Yeah.
So if you want a copy, so just real quick, so we're gonna continue to work on this document and updating everything.
Anybody want one of these? You want one?
Sure.
Right, you just- Thanks, guys. I love this.
Okay, so just any revisions, let Corey know. and
Okay.
make the revisions.
Okay.
And we'll be putting the site visits on here. So everything that we've identified, probably not like Greg, if you and I are gonna go on a site visit, that probably won't be on this
Okay.
one.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Cover it.
okay.
I love seeing this.
And then committees, we got a couple committees, so row and we have an instructional materials committee. So we're gonna need someone on that. So Connor, and I will follow up regarding that because we're gonna be doing we need some adoptions, curriculum adoptions next year. So we need a board member on that and then just a row, if we're comfortable with the way that's working now. Because there's 3 subgroups.
Mhm.
And you can't make the next one next week.
When is, no, the next one's next Thursday, right?
Yep.
I'm in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for counter planning.
Awesome.
Love it.
Anything you have that? No,
I
okay.
feel like we're getting much more organized. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Great.
feel very organized.
Wonderful.
We're making it our own too, I feel like. We're making changes. All right, resolution 2025-2606 modified education program. This will be our first reading.
Yes, so again, I do have a hard copy. I want you to take this hard copy. You have a digital copy.
Take it.
So this has been posted on our website. So
Oh, yeah,
this will be, I think, year 3
yeah.
that we're going through this process. And so what this is we are identifying that due to a number of factors, we have concerns, and we know that we're going to be presenting a balanced budget at the end of this year for next year. But the challenges are with costs, with declining enrollment, with what legislatively happened recently. So adjusting to all that, there are some challenges with our planning for next year and our spending. So we got to make sure that we know the revenue that's coming in, as I mentioned, we're applying for grants. Those aren't guarantees. So as those are awarded, we make adjustments to plans that we have. Thank you to our community for supporting us with the levy. Enormous help. incredible. And there are districts that are going through a second attempt now in the next couple days. So I feel really fortunate that we are where we are. The reality is, and why we have a group that's meeting regularly, is our enrollment continues to decline between 2% and 3% for next year. So we're planning on that happening.
Yeah.
So we're making adjustments. So what this is us being transparent and saying, due to all these factors, so if you look in that first one, I numbered it. So the first, whereas, like due to those reasons, we're going to need to make some reductions. So when you get to the second one where it talks about the general fund, so we're looking at all of our funds. We're looking at all the money that's available to us and understanding that we need to make some adjustments. We present this information to the community in a variety of ways. It's conversations with our legal partners. It's in a survey that we send out in February to get feedback on what the community is prioritizing. So that's what 3 is about. 4 is really about this board has identified a percentage. So by policy, it's 6%. Also by policy, there's a goal of 8%. So we were, I think, very responsible in our planning. So last year, our fund balance was higher than 8%. Right now, it's higher than 8%. I think these are important times to be conservative because there's a lot happening. I was talking to David Sal, our transportation supervisor, about the cost of diesel. It has doubled since February.
It's insane.
So where we were in February versus where we are now, and we don't know how long that's going to last.
Right.
So that's why we are also in our planning for next year, being conservative and knowing that our fund balance, which is healthier than it has been, we're going to be spending it down. And that's what this whole process is about, is just how far do we want to spend that down? And also how many positions do we need to adjust? Because the majority of our budget is in staffing. So anyway, so as we get down to identifying, so 6, like we identify and we ask early about individuals that are planning to retire, to resign. So we have a number of certificate staff, classified staff that we know are planning to resign. Now, all of that's not public information.
Right.
And in some cases, we don't know if someone's planning to resign at this point. So, but we are documenting those individuals. So if we can make reductions through attrition, we want to do that. And so we are working with our building principals, looking at what we think their enrollment's going to be. Shalisa's done a good job forecasting enrollment, moving students up to the next grade level, and using a formula that determines, like, we think, like, what is the attrition of our students. And the last couple of years, we've had more students show up in September and October than we budgeted for. So that's a good thing. So we're hoping that that's going to happen, but that happens because you budget conservatively. It also happens when you make adjustments and people recognize those adjustments and maybe they were choosing to go elsewhere and they come back. So I think there's a combination of things that are happening when students come back to the district that would previously left.
Aaron, can I ask the higher level
Yeah.
question real quick? Why is it called modified?
Because we're changing our potentially current programs. When we make adjustments with staffing and programs. So maybe we reduce a program, maybe we eliminate a program. One of these, when you get down a little bit further, we talk about, so if you go down to turn the page, and additional reductions like athletics, like there's the potential we're going to be impacting those programs. So we're modifying our current plan.
So it's a signal out to everyone like, okay, the schools as you do it need to change a little bit based on all these reasons. So we are modifying it.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
may modify.
Check.
Yeah. So part of this is being transparent with our community. Part of this is also by contract with our certificated, the collective bargaining agreement identifies that if the board needs to reduce staff, reduction of force, there's a process we follow. And that part of the process starts with this, in essence, this resolution, the board communicating to our collective, our labor partners that we're to the point where, and we're going to follow the language that's already been agreed upon in the collective bargaining agreement. So that is really one of the main reasons why we do this, as well as wanting our community to know there are going to be some adjustments that we need to make. These are the reasons we're making them, and where we're making them it's gonna be impacting staff. Potentially. So then you get to 8, and there's a range that we've identified. 400 to 800,000. So there's a range in the dollar amount because we don't exactly know as we're applying for grants, as we're bargaining with our certificate staff, as we're bargaining with our building administrators, as we're looking at our current spending with diesel prices and other utilities and these projects that we've been working on. So there's a lot of things that we're currently, in essence, waiting on to determine what is the amount. Knowing again, we have a fund balance that we can access. We have staff that we have committed to. So part of this also is the timing. That May 15th for our certificated staff, they need to know whether they have a job with us or not. So that's why April is really important. We've done this, I think, sooner. We wanted to wait till April this year. Our financial health helps with that. Then also the TK information. We literally did not get that news until last week.
Right.
So we've been waiting on that, and that's 2 positions that we're not going to have that we currently have. That's 2 people that are certificated and 2 people that are in classified positions, that pairs that support that program. Okay, so there's a range, and then you get into the personnel reduction. So each one of those categories, you see like a up to. Again, back to, we don't exactly know at this particular moment how many administrative adjustments are going to be, how many certificated adjustments are going to be, classified staff. And one of the last times we shared this, there was a lot of unrest about impacting extracurricular activities. So we leave that on here because we don't know what our future holds. And if something were to happen, we have it. And I don't know what that might be, but there's a lot of things that are going on in the world that could impact our budget. And our state superintendent was talking about at the federal level. Like what's happening with the funding. We started the year last year, we were talking about there's grant dollars that we don't think we're going to get. That's about 800,000. I think was it 800,000? I mean, it was pretty significant dollars that we had staff connected to those grants that they said, well, we're holding these right now. So that could happen again. So that's why we need to have a fund balance that would support those types of decisions that we have no influence on. And then we just have to react to. Okay, so you just see here we've identified positions. In some cases, we reduced hours. In some cases, we reduced contracts. And so we've gone through and we looked at all the places where we're spending dollars. We're tracking our fund balance each month. You get that information. That's another way that information is shared with the world. So very transparent on how our revenue versus expenditures are going. Okay, so any questions about this resolution?
Where would our technology budget fit?
So, which is funded through the capital levy. So the $1 million, I think, that's connected to our technology infrastructure and our new technology that we purchase is levy funded.
Yeah, so because I didn't see it on here. So.
Right, and there's so
You can't pull from that. to pay
right,
for
but
the
we have reduced technology staffing previously. So we used to have 3 staff members that supported our technology. We reduced one of those positions 2 years ago. And that was a combination of reasons. Although it was levy funded, the costs of technology continue to increase. So again, those are really hard conversations and decisions. Okay, any other question?
I would just say that when you say we have no control, you can always vote at the midterms.
Thank you. So there's that, right? Each one of us, can vote at the midterm. Can vote at the midterms. Yes. Yep, good point.
When are we getting our electric buses?
So we, we've actually applied for a grant, which I think this is the first time we've
Yeah.
applied. And so I think the decision
waiting.
has been pushed out.
Okay,
23rd.
Yeah.
This week, they pushed it out to June 4th. The grant is due, and the reason is because the depreciation schedule is changing.
oh, okay,
And OSBI, I think, still have their new calculations by the end of April.
okay,
They want everyone to get a chance to see how much we're affected, so we know how many buses we technically can afford
okay,
to go out for it.
okay,
Makes sense.
Okay,
yeah,
any other wonders, thoughts? So the range is less than has previously been. So that's better.
Yeah.
Than it has been. These are still really challenging decisions and impacts people who are part of our team that we've invested in and they are committed to us. So those are like challenging results for those individuals who are losing their positions with the district. So we will be we have a process for following up with those individuals. That has not started. This is a part of the process. So when we come back in 2 weeks, and then the board will make a decision on this resolution. We are again preparing for those conversations and those decisions as we're waiting on other information that impacts our revenue expenses. Okay,
all right.
thank you.
All right, next up, we've got executive responsibility 8, which is financial administration.
Yes, and Shalice is here if you have any questions regarding this ER.
Hasn't really changed since last year, right?
Not much.
Okay, I was gonna say it looked very similar.
Very similar, clearly the dates,
Yeah.
the years would be updated. Any other revisions?
Mhm.
The increase of row, there's a reference to row,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Think,
Which I think what we just talked about undermines how important our rural efforts are.
Yes.
yes,
Fully agree with that.
Continue to talk about small class sizes.
Mhm.
right, so when, the challenges with, and I didn't even mention this, but thank you, the challenges of operating small schools. And you're talking about small class sizes, there's a difference between small class sizes and small schools. So small schools, small class size is the teacher and those students. Small schools, you have all the other positions and the expenses associated with those buildings. And as we talked earlier this week in a meeting, the capital projects. And when we talk about where are we investing in our buildings and those things that we are identified that are necessary, we are making those decisions based on like future dollars coming in, and then like we have the work of the row is really important because we want people to understand some of the challenges again with small schools. We love small class sizes. Small schools are really challenging because of the costs associated with
Every building.
every building, yes, and the upkeep of every building, and utilities costs of every building, and having particular positions for
Mhm.
every building. Yep. Thanks for bringing that up. Because I failed to mention that. It's important work.
It is very important.
Okay, so no questions about this ER? Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Okay,
Awesome. All right, on to executive responsibility 9, which is facility.
and Jessica is available if there are any questions about facilities, as Wes has a prior commitment. So she's available if you have any questions about this ER.
I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
I think so too. Wonderful team.
She's good at what she does.
She is good at what she does. Her team, yep.
She has a good
all
team.
together. Yes.
Yes, for sure. Okay, any questions on that one? No? All right,
Right.
is that it? Got anything? Okay, nothing else? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
I know you are. Done.
Have a second. All right, it is 8:09. It's adjourned. I was just gonna adjourn.
Thank
We're
you.
done.